Okay, and it is a beautiful, beautiful day in the neighborhood. Decided to do a video here. Today is April 5th. I am really, really looking forward to this coming week. I've got a bunch of queens coming in, and then also we're supposed to be getting some really, really nice weather. And so going to be doing some splitting off of these nukes, as well as the bees that came back from California. Our nuke that we have been following is following through I think it's almost been a year. They are doing excellent. Let's see if I can give them some clearance here to work. I've always never been one too eager about doing this barehandedly, pulling grass in front of the hive, because inevitably you got some bees in there. I hate getting stuff. By the way, for those of you getting just into beekeeping or whatever, and you feel like a wuss because you don't like being stung, anybody who tells you otherwise is lying to you. Well, actually, no, I know one or two people who are crazy in the head, and I do believe they like getting stung. But for the vast majority of the rest of us, I hate it. I get stung all the time, and I never like it. It never hurts less than when I got stung 20 years ago and just started in bees, and it sucks. But anyway, just a little side note there. But yeah, no, this colony is doing great. Bringing in a lot of pollen. The maples, I haven't seen. I think the maples are getting pretty close to blooming in our area. Pop the top. Oh yeah, look at that. Full of bees. Full of bees. Full of bees. Down one more level. Yeah. Full of bees. Cool. Okay. So the majority of them though are up in these two top boxes. But so here's the option we're gonna have with this, and that is, when I get the queens later this week, I'll do a video on splitting your bees in the. Sorry, I keep putting my hand over. Splitting your bees in the spring. We'll go over doing a walk-away split. It's not one of my favorites, just simply because you lose so much time. You lose the time that it takes for the queen to hatch, and then you also have the risk of whether she's going to be able to mate successfully. And so you have a tendency to lose at least a couple of weeks. But what I'm going to do most likely is approach this. So that's the nuke that we've been following for almost a year now. Made it through the winter. It looks like it's doing really well. Let's take the trajectory that you're wanting to expand aggressively. And so we'll do a little deeper analysis of it a little later in this coming week and see if we can't do 3 or 4 splits off of it. We know we can do 2 for sure. And one thing about splits, the earlier it is in the year, the better it is. I mean, this is a principle even later in the year when it's warmed up. But as a general rule, you're going to be further ahead a lot of times if you make your splits strong, especially when it's still colder, still earlier in the year. If you get really aggressive with making your splits and then you get a cold period or whatever, you can lose a lot of your bees, or it'll weaken the splits a lot of times to the extent that it's going to take them quite a while to build up. And so this time of year, I would say until at least the beginning of May, you want to make your splits strong. And anyways, as we go through this summer, I'll give some various examples of ways that you can go depending on what you're looking for. Are you looking at just having bees for pollination? Are you looking at wanting to do honey production? Are you looking at wanting to increase your numbers? All the above, which it's pretty hard to have it all. You're gonna sacrifice one for the other, and And that's where you want to have a plan of why you have bees, what do you want to accomplish with them. And that's your personal goal. I mean, there's no good or bad goals for that. But anyways, yeah, I just want to do a quick update. And that daggone hive, check this one out real quick. This one hive here that I called because it was so weak. I called it back in December and I put it on its side. And then I think it was February, the bees were still alive, and so I thought, you know what, maybe I'll turn it back. Looks like it's maybe dwindled. Yeah, I think they have. So I think they've, I can't see them making it. The queen's still alive though. There she is. Whoops, where did she go? There she is. I would venture to say that that queen might still be viable, but they've gotten too weak to survive. Another note on the colonies that you experiment with like this, make sure to treat them with mites for mites just as aggressively as you would a full colony. Really fatal mistake to make is to look at a colony that's weak like that and think, oh, I don't want to waste resources of treating, because mite treatments can be expensive. But you don't want to make that mistake. You want to treat them just as aggressively as any other hive, because when a colony dwindles like that, if it is a result of viral issues from mite loads, you want to make sure that a little colony like that doesn't do a lot of damage by infecting a bunch of your other healthy hives. Now, I've been keeping an eye on them, and I think their failure was just simply due to probably the queen's genetics. That'd probably be my number one guess. But here it is, April 5th, and I left them out on their side for a couple of months, and they still made it. So I think also too, that's a perfect example of how if you keep your mite loads low, the probability of your bees wintering successfully goes up tremendously. And so I just can't. Our loss this year, I haven't been keeping really good track of it, but I would venture to say that we've had close, if not over, 90% survival. And this is coming from last year where we had over 90% death. So once again, mites. Anyways, I'll catch you a little later.